Hi guys, Wintress Fox here from Mindful Youth Connections. I'm sitting in my car as I wait for my daughter to get done with her first experience working or volunteering in the community since we've been dealing with her mental health issues. So I'm super excited for her. And I'm sitting in the parking lot while I wait for her, and I thought it would be a good time to come on here and just kind of let you guys get to know me. I'm going to share some of our story in more detail. It was around November, the year COVID hit, that my daughter came to us, actually came to me, crying a mess and saying, "Mom, I need help. I don't want to be here anymore, and I'm having thoughts." And it caught me off guard. And so I, of course, had a panic moment, right? Because I wasn't aware or acknowledging. It wasn't acknowledging because I just wasn't aware that something this serious was going on. And so I was confused and taken back, and I'm like, "Wait, what's wrong? What are you doing? Why do you feel this way? What can I do?" And she's like, "Mom, I really need help. Like, we need to go now because I just don't want to be here anymore." And I said, okay. So I run upstairs, I tell my husband, and he was like, what's going on? And I was like, "I don't know, I'll be back." And so we jump in the car, and it's a 45-minute drive to the airport because we were out in the country. And we get her, did I say airport? I meant hospital. I get her to the hospital, the emergency room, and we walk in, and she's with me. She's right beside me. And I said, "My daughter's having these thoughts. I need some help." And she's like, "You'd really be better off taking her home." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "She would be better off at home." And I'm like, and I'm looking at my daughter, and my daughter's just sobbing. She's a mess. And I'm like, she's saying she don't want to be here anymore, and you don't want to help her? Oh no, honey. Oh no. You need to get her some help. We're going to sit in this room until you get her some help. And we literally did. We went and we sat down. It took about 2 hours of sitting in that room, in the waiting room, before they came to collect her. And they came with security, which I can understand, because if you're not in the right mental frame, you may freak out, I guess, now in hindsight. But going through it for the first time, it was insane feeling that when you see an armed security guard approaching with the nurse, and they pulled her back and they stripped her down. They made sure that she didn't have anything on her that could hurt herself. They put her in scrubs, and then we go into the room for her to be evaluated or whatnot. And a state social worker shows up, and the state social worker pulls me out of the room to get our side of the story, and again tells me to take her home. She would be better off at home. This is the second time that I've been told. And I look at her and I said, "Honey, I think you're in the wrong line of work, and you should probably find another job, because you are telling me to take my daughter, who is having those thoughts." I don't want to get banned from social media. "And telling me she's better off at home. You need to do your job and get somebody in here that is actually doing it for the right reason to help her, because we are not leaving. Well, it may take up to 2 weeks to find her a bed, and you will be quarantined to the hospital, unable to leave." Okay, we'll do what it takes. Now you do what it takes. Get her a damn bed. So she leaves. They put the armed guard outside her room, and we wait. Eventually, the evaluator shows up, and starts doing their checks and whatnot. And they say they've got her a bed. And then they say they don't have her a bed, that they lost that bed. And then they say that they're sending her to another facility. Don't give me any information about this facility other than the name. And I am just grateful because she's going to get some help. And remember, I haven't been through this before. And then they tell me that I can drive her over there. She has to be there by a certain time. And so I drive her over there, wait. They put us in a room. And this room was not clean. It wasn't, and I'm not expecting anything. I don't know what to expect because I've never been through it before. And then they put her in. And then I find out, in the state of Washington, which was the state that this happened in, at the age of 13, it requires the youth to sign a release to give the parent any information. They believe that a 13-year-old should be in charge of their own mental health. And without that release, there is no way that they can provide me any information. No status updates, nothing about what the doctor says, no consultation on what medication they're going to put her on, nothing. Thankfully, my daughter signed the release form because she just wanted help. But what about those kids that don't? What about those kids that are truly troubled, the parents trying to help, but they refuse to sign the form? Now, I get it. There are kids out there that come from crappy families and the parents do really horrible stuff. I get it. And that's why they ultimately have it installed, or at least that's the explanation I was given. But let me tell you what happened. My daughter met with the psychiatrist in the hospital for 30 minutes only. And that was the next morning. They put her on 5 antipsychotic medications. 5. Okay, she may need them. But when they released her 5 days later, no one came out to consult with me. Nobody told me what was going on. They didn't assign her a psychiatrist to keep up with her meds. They told me to contact an outpatient place to try and get some help. That outpatient couldn't see her for months, and then they just shoved her out the door with a folder and no help. So I immediately get on the phone. I'm trying to find psychiatrists, I'm trying to find mental health counselors, I'm trying to find doctors that will just help us and provide us a way. And while she was in the hospital, I had to reach out to the school counselor, right? Because she's not going to be in school. Thankfully, she became my sounding board, and I just kept her in the loop on everything. I couldn't find a psychiatrist. I couldn't find a counselor. It was a 6 to 8 month waiting period for any of them. I'm at a loss. I take her to a general practitioner, and I said, here's her meds. And as soon as she sees the meds, she goes, she needs a psychiatrist. I start crying. Great. Show me where there's one. Find me one that will help her, because there are none for 6 to 8 months. I need help. Help me. And she rubs my back and says, don't worry, we'll get through it together. We didn't. It was the school psychiatrist that used her connections from her previous career to reach out into the community and beg for help. And she got us somebody. That's how we ended up getting somebody to monitor her new meds, to get her into counseling. It was the school counselor. And she doesn't even do counseling outside. She doesn't even work in that field. She's a school counselor. But it took months. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know where we would be. And that's just the beginning of our story. Come back for more. Don't let this affect your family. If you're having struggles like that, come and share your story. We have to build a community so we can stand up in numbers and make a change. It's ridiculous what we're going through. Check out mindfulyouthconnections.org. Thanks for listening.